I got my first job in drag racing when I was 12 years old, and it came with a free lunch. That's because I was selling hot dogs out of a stand at Old San Gabriel Drag Strip south of L.A. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Evans. By the time I was 17, I had a little flathead Ford. We ran on abandoned airstrips around Southern California. Then I got an injected Chevy fuel car. We raced at Pomona a lot. It was nothing more than a fairgrounds parking lot with some beat-up old wooden grandstands. Who could have forecasted Pomona in the 90s would be a multi-million-dollar super track joined by many others all across the country? Now, my first race car trailer looked like, well, a picnic table, because that's what I made it out of. Now, $500,000 rigs are as common as pit passes. I didn't win a lot, but I remember the first time I got a $25 savings bond, actually worth $18.75. Now the purses are in the millions with six-figure awards to the winners. Now, you can make drag racing as complicated or as simple as you want. As complicated as trying to manage 5,000 horsepower in front of 50,000 screaming fans with a national television audience, or as simple as a Friday night bracket race in Baton Rouge. But one thing all drag racers have in common: they are chasing the lights at the starting line and on the scoreboard. This is a story of racing glory, of those who try, those who've made it. This is a story of champions chasing the lights. No matter how much a racer accomplishes, there is nothing like that first win. After 2 years of alcohol funny car racing, Casey Spurlock made the move into nitro funny cars in 1990. In his first race, the Winter Nationals, Casey made an instant impact. The number 16 qualifier, the slowest car in the field, Casey battled his way past number 1 qualifier John Force, R.C. Sherman, and then defending Winston champ Bruce Larson to meet up with Ed McCullough in the final.
What were your emotions as you staged this car? McCullough staged first.
McCullough was trying to rush me a little bit, I think, thinking that would throw me off a little bit, but that just jazzes me up even more. And I saw that happen. I just took my good time, did my normal deal, went down the racetrack.
When do you think this is finally going to sink in?
Probably sometime tomorrow.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Steve.
When Cruz Pedregon made the move to nitro funny cars in 1992, after 4 years of racing in the alcohol classes, as part of the Larry Minor race team, great things were expected. His premiere at the NHRA Winter Nationals, however, was not quite what he hoped for. The number 2 qualifier, a blower explosion off the line, took him out of competition. The number 4 qualifier at the season's next race, the Motorcraft Ford Nationals, Cruz again suffered misfortune at the starting line, literally blowing the body off his car. By the 3rd race of the 92 season, the Slick 50 Nationals, Cruz was starting to show the performance expected of him at the start of the season. Pedregon defeated Chuck Etchells, defending Winston champ John Force, and then in the semifinals and beating Al Hoffman, ran the then all-time quickest ET of 5:10. That set up a final round matchup with Gordon Mineo.
Cruz Pedregon, what a day. This team came from off the mat to set a national record and win.
Yeah, it sure did, Steve. It's great. Everybody got together, the crew and everybody, and we decided to run with Lee Beard's combination out of the dragster. And
They say that won't work.
well, I'll tell you, with Bernie Federle and Lee together, they both put their ideas together, and it worked.
And your driving was phenomenal. Whole shots in 2 rounds.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
As the tour pulled into Dallas for the Cheap Auto Parts Nationals, Pedregon and John Force were locked in a battle for the points lead. Pedregon advanced to the finals looking for a record-tying 5th consecutive event win, while Force was hoping to avenge a final round loss to Cruz at the Sears Craftsman National. Pedregon went on to take the Winston crown in his rookie season, ending Force's 2-year reign as champion. There are times when the glory of that first win is spoiled by an unfortunate incident. Longtime competitor Chuck Etchells knows that feeling well. At the 1990 Summer Nationals, Etchells, the number 7 qualifier, raced past Dominic Santucci, Jim White, and Tom Hoover to meet his friend, Johnny West, in the finals. Off the line, West almost immediately veered into the guardrail. The impact knocked him unconscious, and as Etchells powered to his first career win, his friend West was an unwilling passenger in a ride. Well, just watch the video.
Chuck, first I have to congratulate you on winning your first NHRA Funny Car title. I know it was tough for you seeing a good friend go into the fence in a ball of fire.
Well, you know, Steve, when it first happened, I got out of the car and it really didn't feel like winning, because Johnny is a good friend, and you know, that's the most important thing in sport, are the people that are in it. Right. And you know, I'm glad he's okay. He was talking to people. So now I feel like we won. I love the money. We need it.
Now we'll party.
Now we'll party.
Okay. Chuck Etchells, what a great guy.
As if just surviving 4 rounds of NHRA competition wasn't enough, sometimes a racer has to overcome even more to notch that first win. In 1992, Michael Brotherton moved into Darrell Gwynn's stop-field dragster. While trying to improve on his number 4 qualifying spot at the 1992 Jolly Rancher Candies Nationals, Brotherton's dragster flipped and rolled off the starting line. The Gwynn Racing Coors Light team spent the night rebuilding the car. And in 3 incredible rounds of racing, Michael met Robert Reel, Shelley Anderson, and Corey McClanathan to meet Eddie Hill in the finals.
We were on ahead twice this year, and when we left last night, I told him we were going to fix it and win this thing. And,
What a gritty performance by everybody.
and I'll tell you, we're a little tired, and my wife Beth couldn't make it, but believe me, we pulled this one out. And I want to say thanks to the Safety Safari. They were on top of that yesterday, and that makes me feel real good. For all our sponsors, thanks for sticking with me. Darrell, wish you could have been here, buddy.
It was a great day. They say the longer you work for something, the sweeter it is when you finally get it. Just ask Steve Schmidt, engine builder extraordinaire, who competed for almost 20 years before tasting final round victory. At the 94 Northwest Nationals, Schmidt, the number 6 qualifier, worked his way past Ricky Smith, Warren Johnson, and Butch Abbott to meet Jim Yates in the final round.
I can hear the cheering all the way from Indianapolis. Steve Schmidt, your first ever Pro Stock victory in your first final round.
Well, I'm sure there's a couple guys back here cheering, because we really don't do this for a living like most of these guys, and I got half a volunteer crew, and unfortunately they can't make this West Coast swing. So a guy by the name of Kenny Caldwell that's raced with me for 20 years and had the faith to work those 18 and 20-hour days for free, I can't thank him enough.
Great driving.
Thank you.
I've been down at the far end of the racetrack doing interviews for Diamond P for 15 years, and there is nothing like sharing that magic moment of the first win with the racers.
Congratulations.
Thank you. You know, Steve, that they say that the luckiest man alive is one who thinks himself so, and I think I'm the luckiest person alive.
Oh, thanks a lot. Gosh, I don't even know where to start. I haven't practiced this one at all, Steve.
Whoa. 7!
first national event where you ever got a single round win and you go all the way?
Well, that's the way it should be, isn't it?
You've done it. You've won post-hoc.
Reality hasn't set in yet, man, but it's here, you know. We set the record here 2 years ago, and then Ricky beat me first round. I was hoping I could get revenge, and I guess this was revenge today.
You'll long remember this day, Kurt Johnson, your first national event win.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Put 4 wins together against this class of pro stockers out here. This is just unbelievable.
This is it, Steve, the first one ever, and it feels great. There's nothing like your first victory, and the guys did a great job, and we had a little luck with us today, and it paid off. That's what we've been needing, is a little luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Rance McDaniel, they're partying in Fresno tonight.
You betcha they're partying in Fresno. We're going to come back and party with them, too.
Is this sunk in yet? You've finally done it.
Not hardly. I mean, I'm still just...
We finally done it, boys. We finally done it.
Racers will tell you that after that first win, any win following a heart-stopping incident is especially sweet. Top Fuel competitor Corey McClenathan will surely agree. While qualifying for the 1993 Winston Select Invitational in Rockingham, North Carolina, Corey Mack suffered a frightening far-end accident. Corey recovered mentally and physically from that crash, although he had to miss 4 races because of burns to his hands and face. At his first race back behind the wheel, the Autolite Nationals, Corey was runner-up to Eddie Hill. McClenathan would make it to 2 more final rounds in '93, but would end the year without a national event victory. His next final round appearance came at the 1994 Ford Quality Care Nationals. The #1 qualifier, Corey Mack, marched past Tommy Johnson Jr. in the first round, then met up with Scott Kalitta and Connie Kalitta in the second and semifinals. That set up a final round meeting with Joe Amato.
It feels so good. I'm over 3 finals last year, couldn't win one, and to come here and with a new team to run all these 70s, to reset the national record. I mean, I got to thank Lee Beard, McDonald, Oldsmobile, you know, Larry Minor. I wouldn't have had a chance to drive this year if it wasn't for those guys.
Even for multi-event winners like Ben the Ace McCullough, one of Funny Cars Racing pioneers, there are still races and moments that are as sweet as the first time. Coming into the 1990 U.S. Nationals, Ace had already won the most prestigious of all national events 4 times. Looking for a record 5th Funny Car title, McCullough beat Jim White, John Force, and Dominic Santucci to meet Tom Hoover in the finals. That U.S. Nationals win, with 4 other event titles in '90, propelled Ace to 2nd in the Winston point standings by season end. 2 years later, still driving for Larry Minor, McCullough was once again in the finals of the U.S. Nationals, this time behind the wheel of a Top Fuel dragster. Looking for his 6th U.S. Nationals win, Ace was also looking for his first Top Fuel dragster win as he faced off against young Doug Herbert.
McCullough, you have won Top Fuel at the U.S. Nationals for the first time 6 times in your career in the nitro categories.
Well, Steve, you know, I love it. You know, winning it in the funny car, you know, 5 times was great. This is equally important to win this for the first time for me, for McDonald's, Larry Minor, for the whole gang. I'm proud as punch.
We're proud for you.
Thank you.
Over his long and colorful career, Connie Kalitta has certainly accomplished a lot. One of the original stars of drag racing, Connie has been a record setter, a championship-winning crew chief, and multi-event winner. But from the time he attended his first U.S. Nationals in Detroit in 1959, prior to 1994, Connie had made only the finals twice, losing once to Shirley Muldowney and once to Big Daddy Don Garlitz. In 1994, Connie was having perhaps his greatest year ever. At Indianapolis, he met Eddie Hill in what scribes call the oldest final round in history. Great moment down here. Eddie Hill, Connie Kalitta. Connie, you've won Indy.
Yes, it's something I've been wanting to do for many, many years. I've been here a lot. It's amazing. My mom, a couple years ago, she called me one night and she says, Connie, she says, that bottle of champagne I've had for 15 years to celebrate you winning, she says, I drank it.
Another pioneer of drag racing is Tom the Mongoose McEwen, whose racing career began in the mid-50s in Southern California. After winning 4 national event titles in funny cars, McEwen retired from racing in '88. He came back to the sport in '91, though, this time behind the wheel of a top fuel dragster. At the '91 Summer Nationals, McEwen bested Connie Kalitta, Scott Kalitta, and Dick LaHaye to make it to his first top fuel final round, where he met Laurie Johns. Under the lights, Eddie Town. McEwen's first career top fuel win, along with a runner-up at the Northwest Nationals, propelled Tom to 7th in the Winston point standings. When talking about the emotions of winning, one name always comes up, Don the Snake Prudhomme. No single racer has so captured and captivated fans. Prudhomme won his first NHRA national event in 1965. And over the 30 years, he dominated funny car racing during the 70s, set records through the 80s, and then in 1990, left funny cars to return to the kings of the sport, Top Fuel dragsters. Unfortunately for Don, the highlight of his return to Top Fuel came in qualifying at La Grande Nationals near Montreal in 1990.
'Don Prudhomme, wife Lynn, his daughter Donna. Don more concerned with their feelings than his own. He's obviously okay. You're all right, Snake?
Yeah, I'm all right, Steve.
You race a whole career, 25 years, almost incident-free, and in 1 year, it's incredible.
Yeah, I know. It just started to come up on me there, and it was, picked him up a little bit and set him down, and then it really came up. I don't quite understand it right at the moment.
Well, if you stay between the walls, that's one thing, but when it went over the rail, that's when you frightened us, and I'm sure yourself as well.
Yeah, I didn't know where I was at, obviously. I mean, I thought, oh, no, I grabbed the brake and tried to stop it and everything, but it was just too late. It just went over center, and it was over with.
Join your family.
Thank you.
1991 was a better year for Don. He was runner-up at the Gator Nationals and Mid-South Nationals, and at the Spring Nationals, after beating Jim Head, Eddie Hill, and Frank Hawley, Prudhomme faced off with defending Winston champ, Joe Amato. '94 was a bittersweet year for Don Prudhomme. Announcing he was retiring from driving at year's end, the Snake found himself in the middle of one of his best seasons ever. In his first final round of his Final Strike Tour, Don faced off with Scott Kalitta at the Slick 50 Nationals after beating Rochelle Splatt, Corey McLennan, and Joe Amato.
Again, man, this is a ball, I tell you. I may not quit, No, I'm over. No, I am. I shouldn't have said that. No, I swear to you. I swear to you, this is it. It's over. I swear to my wife.
Shot Prudhomme down there saying, maybe I won't quit.
No, it's over. It's over.
Prudhomme finished the '94 season second in the points to eventual Winston champ Scott Kalitta. For 1995, Prudhomme announced that longtime crew member Larry Dixon Jr., who began working with the Snake in 1988, would take over the driving chores. Like so many young up-and-comers in the Nitro classes, Dixon had cut his driving teeth in the alcohol classes, spending 1993 wheeling and tuning a dragster. At the second event of the 95 season, Dixon drove Prudhomme's Miller Genuine Draft dragster to the finals, and in the process defeating Shelley Anderson. You got a good kid here.
Oh, do we ever? You know, we got to thank Rusty Wallace, man. Now, you know, the whole Miller Genuine Draft team, Purelator, wins, everybody, Pontiac GM truck. We love you. How about this kid? Is he cool?
In 1982 and 83, Frank Hawley and crew chief Austin Coyle shocked the racing world by winning back-to-back Winston Funny Car Championships. But the emotions of those years were nothing compared to Hawley's return to racing in 1990, driving Darrell Gwynn's Top Fuel dragster. Earlier in 90, Gwynn, one of drag racing's fastest rising young stars, suffered a horrendous crash in England during an exhibition race that ended his career behind the wheel. While Gwynn was still in a hospital recovering, Hawley took over the driving duties, and in his debut at the Spring Nationals, qualified the dragster #1. A bye run in the first round, victories over Karamessinis and Prudhomme put Frank in the finals against Joe Amato. Hawley would finish the year 9th in the Winston points, and in 91 drove the car to 6 semifinal round appearances and 4th in the points. A Winston champion when he was only 23 in Top Alcohol Funny Car, Pat Austin has certainly also tasted all the emotions NHRA drag racing has to offer. In 1991, en route to his 4th alcohol championship, Austin made the move into Top Fuel at the granddaddy of all races, the U.S. Nationals. Pat, with Father Walt, took over the Top Fuel operation of Winston champ Gary Ormsby, who had lost a 2-year battle to cancer just before the trek to Indianapolis. In his first race driving the Castrol GTX dragster, Austin defeated Jimmy Nix, Eddie Hill, and Tom McEwen to meet Kenny Bernstein in the Nationals final as part of his Cinderella weekend, which included a win earlier in the day in Alcohol Funny Car. Pat's final round appearance may have ended on the burnout, but he made a little bit of history by appearing in the final round of 2 different eliminator classes at the same event. That first taste of success in Top Fuel honored the memory of Ormsby, but Pat and Father Walt had bigger things in mind. At the next event on the NHRA Tour, the Heartland Nationals, Austin made his 10th 1991 final round appearance in Alcohol Funny Car. Looking to claim his 9th win of the season, he squared off with Chuck Cheeseman. Austin had little time to savor his win. Riding back up the return road, still dressed in his fire suit, Austin barely had time to strap into the Castrol dragster to face off with defending Winston champ Joe Amato. It was a day and a race that would more than pay tribute to Gary Ormsby and help establish Pat Austin as one of the sport's best.
Pat Austin, you made history today. No one's ever won 2 eliminators at a national event. Congratulations.
Thanks. I mean, it goes without saying. I mean, we got Terry Morrow and the guys, and Orr Vasquez and Terry Major and the other crew, and these guys, Brian, Dickey, and Dana and Lee, they know what they're doing. Got my dad overseeing it all. It's just rock and roll time for us.
I know the safety safari will agree with this analogy. Drag racing drivers are really cool. I mean, there'll be some horrible incident, just terrifying, a giant fire, a big Top Fuel blowover. The crew rushes down to the other end. The wife is crying. The crew chief falls out of the truck before it even stops, and the driver goes, "Hey, no big deal." Undoubtedly, the epitome of cool heads is Mike Dunn, who set the standard at the '83 Spring Nationals while qualifying in Roland Leong's Funny Car.
Mike Dunn, you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. It's one of the worst accidents I've ever seen at this end of the history.
Wasn't that bad.
You looked it from here. I think when you see the tape, you'll believe it.
And now for the latest entrants. The highlight of Mark Oswald's career was his '84 Winston Funny Car Championship. From 1986 through '88, he finished second in the points to Kenny Bernstein. In 1990, still driving for Candies and Hughes, Mark had notched 3 victories when the Tour rolled into Dallas for the Cheap Auto Parts Nationals. In the first round, number 3 qualifier Oswald faced off with Al Hoffman.
I just tried to stay as straight as I could. Steve had just had oil and everything all over the front of the visor, and you know, I really couldn't understand why I hit the guardrail. I thought I held the car pretty straight, but they said it pretty much lifted the car right off the ground.
What were you doing when you put your hand in your glove way up in the air?
I was trying to see if the body was still on. I was feeling for the roof hatch to see if I was going to have to get out or not. I couldn't tell if the body was still on.
When Michael Brotherton took over the driving duties from Frank Hawley in 1992 of Gerald Gwynn's Coors Light dragster, he was determined to make a good impression right out of the box. Qualifying 5th, Brotherton raced Robert Reel in the first round. After the race, Brotherton told me he knew he had won, knew the team was moving into the second round, so when the fire burned off his parachute, he wanted to avoid the sand pit and keep the car upright and in one piece. He was wrong. Michael almost pulled off his stunt driver maneuver. Had that right rear slick not hooked the final time, the car might not have gone upside down. They might have made it to the next round. As it was, done for the day. During qualifying for the 1993 Mopar Parts Nationals, Corey McLanathan, driving his family-owned Mack Attack dragster, had posted times good enough for the number 5 spot. During night qualifying, looking to improve his position, Corey Mack instead took the family team out of competition.
After what I've been through, it's like one of those things where that happens, you're thinking, what the heck's going to happen next, you know? But they're safe, you know. They're made for that. Something happened. It was bad last time. This time it was a cakewalk.
Jack Ostrander has been around drag racing for years, raced on all kinds of tracks, and has learned the hard way how to deal with sticky situations. He has never had the best luck in NHRA competition, although in 1988 he did finish a career best 10th in the Winston points. At the start of the '93 season, Cadillac Jack had qualified for the first 3 NHRA events, and as the Tour pulled into Gainesville, Florida for the Gator Nationals, he was looking to keep that streak alive.
Oh, look out, don't hold me, don't hold me.
I gotta tell you, that was the damnedest crash I ever saw. These chassis are supposed to bow up a little bit for weight transfer, but the top tubes are not supposed to break simultaneously. Going up, coming down.
Jack's okay, apparently. You all right, Jack?
Yeah, I'm all right.
A wild one.
Oh, yeah. Tell me. I was in it.
The first person to run in the 4s, Eddie Hill started his racing career in the 50s. After a record-setting stint in drag boats, Eddie, Y. Percy, and crew chief Fuzzy Carter returned to dry land in 1985. Coming into the '92 Summer Nationals, Eddie had already won the Gator Nationals, defeating King of Speed Kenny Bernstein in the finals. Hoping to pick up points for number 1 qualifier, Hill literally hung it all out. Something went horribly wrong on the left-hand side of Eddie's motor. The fire cooking that left Goodyear. Finally, it said, I'm out of here. Took a hike, and Eddie had a tricycle. But for a guy who's blown over in a boat at 220, a walk in the park.
Well, they call Eddie Hill the thrill, and that has to rank right up there.
Well, I try not to thrill him like that, but I guess a little of that goes along with it. What did we turn?
5 flat, low elapsed time track record.
All right. That's what we needed. All right, I'd blow another tire for that.
Cool-headedness generally comes from experience. After a certain point, a driver has experienced most things that can go wrong and knows how to deal with them. That's why with a rookie driver, sometimes it's the crew chief who's the cool one. Take, for example, Kenji Okazaki, who in 1993 was racing in his first full season under the tutelage of veteran Big Jim Dunn. Kenji qualified for the first 2 races of the 93 season, losing in the first round of the Winter Nationals and the second round of the Motorcraft Ford Nationals. This happened with Kenji qualified 8th and trying to move up at the Slick 50 Nationals. Needless to say, Big Jim Dunn was impressed.
I was just ready to shut off just before the first ride, and I just saw the fire come out. Boom! That's it. I couldn't see anything after that.
It just looked like it laid over about halfway down, and that's what I told him. You're going to have to burn a couple times to get the experience knowing what a motor laying over does. And so now he's got that experience. We'll build another one and go. But it'll take him a year to get all the burns and scars everybody else earns. You got to earn it. You can't buy it.
Of course, no tribute to Cool Heads would be complete without a tip of the crash helmet to the unflappable star of funny car racing, John Force.
And John, everyone at home knew, as you did, when those windows in the firewall lit up, you were in big trouble again.
We're back. What can I say? That was strange. Gave no warning. Motor was trucking, and again, we did what we had to do with the race car trying to run Lloyd T. I didn't know what she run, but it was a queer deal. She never lights up like that on me, and I burnt Buster's roof hatch off to him for his wedding deal. hey, she left. We're trying to run a fairly good number, and throttle it smoked the tires and went to pellet, and the throttle hung wide open. It's just one of them things that happens. It's a different body on the car. We did run it at Phoenix, but we ain't out of this race. Cruz Petragon's horseshoes are holding, obviously, but we got another car in the trailer. We can get back, fix this one maybe. Mainly get back in the game for the fans, because that's why we're here. The money's dead, it's over, unless we win this thing, and we're gonna try.
After one of the most incredible crashes we've seen in a long time, John Force is on his feet.
Bitchin', huh? Is this live?
Close enough.
Sorry, Hoffman, we got you covered, buddy.
You all right, John?
Yeah, except I lost.
Well, you did indeed, but you did a great job of getting this thing stopped and off the wall.
Had him covered, never saw him, 800 feet or so. Thought, hey, here we go. We're on the way to that championship, but we welded our old hound dog. I told you we would.
You did.
We either win it or we'd do it.
Almost from the beginning of drag racing, those who have covered the sport have looked for innovative ways to bring fans inside the race cars, to give them a driver's eye view of chasing the lights. Over the past several years, advances in technology have brought fans closer than ever to the intensity of NHRA Championship drag racing. Al Hoffman has been racing for 25 years, and there's no doubt, like most experienced racers, he has seen and experienced it all. Well, almost all. Fourth in the Winston points in '93, Hoffman, with the backing of Western Auto and Slick 50, hoped to make a serious run at John Force and Cruz Pedregon in '94. The number 3 qualifier at the Keystone Nationals, Hoffman faced off with Whit Bazemore in the first round of competition and gave everyone a close-up of one weird wheel stand. Al Hoffman discussed it. It didn't help your cause. It was spectacular.
Well, it might have been spectacular, but it didn't win. But I don't know what to say. As you can see, the wheelie bar folded up, and I don't know. It just I stayed with it as long as I could, but I wasn't coming back. So.
In 1992, at the second race of the NHRA season, the Motorcraft Ford Nationals from Phoenix, Arizona, drag racing fans were treated to another new development, another insight in chasing the lights, when TNN broadcast live final round coverage for a nationwide audience. In pursuit of the finish line, racers have been known to let it all hang out. Now understand, no racers intentionally go boom, but when you're chasing the lights, boom is better than losing. From 1985 through '88, Kenny Bernstein dominated funny car racing, winning 4 consecutive Winston championships. When he made the move to Top Fuel in 1990, he struggled initially, but by '91 was competing with the best of them. 6th in the points in '94, Kenny and crew chief Dale Armstrong had high hopes for the '95 season. At the Fram Nationals, Kenny met up with Shelley Anderson in the first round of competition. Aided by a rain delay, Kenny and Dale were able to repair the Budweiser King, going out in the second round. Jim Epler, number 7 in Winston points in '93, came into the Sears Craftsman Nationals hoping to notch his second career victory. After beating Gordon Midio in round 1, Epler faced off with Al Hoffman. Well, not the way you wanted to end one of the best days of your life.
Boy, you're not kidding, I tell you. That's drag racing, 0 to 0, I guess, but that's a problem running on a budget. You know, we got all the talent in the world, but I don't know what we're going to do about this one, but we'll try. I'm just happy for a rug doctor. Dylan's like to put on a good show for him, but not looking too pretty.
Well, his crew knew what to do. They made the necessary repairs. But unfortunately, he was unable to fire in his semifinal round race against John Force. The number 7 qualifier at the '93 Motorcraft Ford Nationals, Al Hoffman defeated Chuck Edgels in the first round, setting up a second round match with arch rival John Brute Force. Boy, Al, I'm awfully glad we're having this conversation. That was just terrible.
Yeah, I haven't had one like that for a long time. I don't even know what happened. I mean, it
split the motor right in half.
Yeah, hit hydraulic, obviously, but right in the lights. It seemed nice. You know, I was just getting ready to step off and it blew up. Well, we won the round. That's all that counts. We're counting them points for the World Championship this year, and we'll be back in Houston.
His car literally burned to the ground and unable to make his semifinal race. Hoffman was consoled by the fact he had taken force out of the race. At the 1993 Ford Motorcraft Nationals in Phoenix, Pat Austin was qualified only 13th, but still was bound and determined to make it to the final round. But first here in the semis, he had to get past Jim Head. As badly as that motor was cooked, Brother Mike and Father Walt and the rest of the crew went to work, changed engines, and need I say tires. They made it to the final round where they lost to Eddie Hill. As the 1994 season started, Shelley Anderson had already won one national event, the 93 Keystones. At Pomona, considered her home track, Shelley defeated Clayton Harris, Michael Brotherton, and Pat Austin to meet Rance McDaniel in the finals. You're okay?
And I think I won.
You won.
The car's junk, but we won.
And you won where you grew up in front of all your friends in a fairly spectacular fashion.
Yeah, it was. God, the car's junk. I don't know what happened.
Although in his early 30s, Scott Kalitta is almost a 20-year veteran of NHRA drag racing, beginning his career working for his father, Connie. As the NHRA Tour pulled into Columbus, Ohio for the 1994 Spring Nationals, Scott was still striving for his first win of the season. Scott, the #1 qualifier, defeated Rance McDaniel, Blaine Johnson, and Don Prudhomme to make it to the finals against Joe Amato. You won it in a ball of fire, but you won it.
Yeah, you know, I just wasn't sure whether I won, but that's all that counts. You know, I kept it off the guardrail, and, you know, everybody did a heck of a job.
Where did it go boom?
I think right at the first light. And that's why I remember looking over as I heard it blow up, and I saw him over there, but I didn't think he was ahead of me. I couldn't tell.
He's okay. He's a winner. Crew Chief Dick LaHaye was so shaken by the explosion, he actually quit the team. But he was back several days later to continue his wrenching responsibilities. How many times have we heard a losing driver say, damn, I got beat by a $5 part? And it does happen, of course. In fact, a lot of racers really believe in the luck bank. And before you can make withdrawals, you have to have made some deposits. So remember, for every driver beaten by a $5 part, somebody else won because of it. It swings both ways. There is no set timetable for when the luck bank will make loans or call in a payment. But here's a classic example of working the luck bank. Funny car racer Glenn Micras. Micras' 1990 season began as #10 qualifier at the Winter Nationals. Glenn's next appearance was at the Gator Nationals, where he just made the field as the #16 qualifier, which meant his first round race was against #1 qualifier Jim White. It took the luck bank a while to call in Glenn's loan, all the way to the North Star Nationals later in that season. After qualifying #8 and defeating Casey Spurlock in the first round, Micras faced off with John Force in the second round. Glenn redlighted off the line, automatically giving the win to Force. But to add insult to injury, so to speak, the Joe Paisano Mountain Blue just passed the line. You know, sometimes you get the feeling Lady Luck is playing with you, teasing you almost.
For example, take the case of top fuel pilot Craig Smith at the 1991 Arizona Nationals. The number 14 qualifier, Smith came into the first round facing off against Gary Ormsby, number 4 qualifier. Ormsby's rare red light gave Craig the win and moved him into the second round, where he defeated number 5 qualifier Michael Brotherton. That put Smith in the semifinals against number 1 qualifier Frank Hawley, who had a 2/10 of a second performance edge over Craig. Hawley's tire-smoking run moved Smith into his first final round, where he was scheduled to race Kenny Bernstein, making his first final round appearance since returning to Top Fuel. Unfortunately, the luck ran out on Craig. He was unable to back up after his burnout, handing the win and his first Top Fuel title to Bernstein. That's what you call dead in the water. Two years later at the same track, in the first round of the Motorcraft Ford Nationals, the luck bank called in the loan it had made Kenny in '91. The number 6 qualifier, Bernstein, was scheduled to race Jack Ostrander, who broke, giving Kenny the bye run. The crew was able to repair the Bud King, but went out in the second round to Eddie Hill. Now, on the subject of bad luck and bye runs, Corey Mack defined the subject at the 1991 Winston Finals. After defeating Connie Kalitta in the first round, Corey was set to meet Joe Amato in the second round. Amato broke, giving Corey the bye run. Off the line, everything seemed to go bad. Cruising down track, Corey pulls the chutes early, can't get the car slowed, seems to actually pick up speed. The safety safari tries to chase him down. He's headed for the sand trap at the end of the track. What on earth is going on? Where are you going, Corey? Into the sand, where the car is destroyed. Corey and family unable to make the call for the semifinals. What a weird deal. There are racers out there who have made more than their fair share of deposits and are still waiting for a break. Easily one of the finalists for Hard Luck Award winner is funny car driver Gordon Mineo. The 92 Northwest Nationals, Gordon got by number 1 qualifier Mark Oswald in the first round, only to explode in the second round against Paul Smith. Lose the nickname, Gordon. At the Slick 50 Nationals, Gordon had qualified in the top half of the field at number 6 and defeated Gary Densham in the first round. That set up a second round matchup with Brent Fanning. Again, the name Flash was starting to seem inappropriate. Later that same year, while trying to qualify for the inaugural Western Auto Nationals at Topeka, Kansas, Gordon again flashed. There was one moment during the '93 season when Gordon Mineo had to feel that his luck was finally turning good. At the 93 Spring Nationals, Gordon, the number 15 qualifier, beat John Force and Mark Oswald to set up his semifinal round race with Cruz Pedregon. That win put Gordon into his first ever final round, but just when he had to be feeling good, luck said, not today, and Gordon's car seemed to take on a life of its own, refiring as he turned off the track, launching him into Eddie Hill's tow vehicle and dragster.
Gordon, I know you feel worse than anyone does about this, but it wasn't your fault, man.
Well, I'm extremely sorry for Eddie. I can live with my own damage, but I can't stand to do anything to anybody else.
The car was shutting off fine, and all of a sudden...
It was, I thought, completely dead, and I made my turn, had my hand on the brake. All of a sudden, wow, just took off. It's like you say, I think a poppet stuck open and fed it back, and it just took off.
I know you're concerned about the people here. I'll let you go.
Thank you.
Gordon and crew were unable to repair the car in time. I'm not sure they wanted to, giving the event win by default to Gordy Bonnet. And as far as bad luck goes, truer words were never spoken than Whit Bazemore's comments after a fire at the 92 Motorcraft Ford Nationals.
You know, it's part of drag racing. If you have a funny car, it's going to catch on fire sooner or later. And we went all last year without a major incident, and we'll come right back, believe me.
You really can't call Whit Bazemore unlucky. After all, he doesn't have a scar, and he's still doing it. Sometimes you can make your own luck, meaning you can turn bad luck into good luck. Take, for example, Mark Oswald at the 91 Gator Nationals. After getting by Chuck Etchels and Richard Hartman, Oswald found himself in the semifinals against Mike Dunn. In the second half of the semifinals, Tom Hoover, in losing to John Force, also blows up. Now, Oswald's team was able to take parts off of Hoover's body and use them in making repairs to their own car, allowing Mark to pull to the line for the finals against John Force.
Mark, the win the Gator Nationals in a car patched together by all your friends in the pits, quite a thrill.
Yeah, it is. I mean, when you get this many guys pulling together, I'm just happy to have friends like this, and I'm happy to have Jeff and Susan Bernstein and In-N-Out Burger.
Their first win, or their first national win period with a dragster or a funny car, the Bernstein.
If they weren't hooked before, they will be now.
You know, the question is sometimes asked, is bad luck contagious? Casey Spurlock, for one, would answer yes. During qualifying for the 1990 Northwest Nationals, Frank Kramberger fireballed about a third of the way down the track. His good friend Casey Spurlock, the number 3 qualifier, was at the far end. Saw Kramberger roll to a stop and was immediately on the scene. Watch this. Bit of bravery. Enter Spurlock. Stage right. Dressed appropriately, Casey didn't hesitate to come to the scene and help pull Frank Kramberger from the smoldering wreck. In competition, Spurlock outdrove Al Hoffman in the first round, setting up a second round meeting with Bruce Larson. Casey had to be wondering, hey, this is where I came in. Did I catch this from Kramberger? Both Frank and Casey were A-okay. Don Garlits redefined the blowover during qualifying for the 86 Summer Nationals. And while no one wants to go over, there is a certain poetry in motion with things going wrong sometimes. It is often said that pro stock cars are the most difficult cars to drive down the quarter mile. And one reason may be that, like their NASCAR brethren, sideways a little bit means aerodynamics makes drivers riders. Back in the early 50s, an engineer actually published a paper stating it was impossible to hit 150 miles an hour in a standing quarter mile. Well, obviously, he was wrong. But it wasn't too many years ago, some people thought we would never see a 300-mile-an-hour run or an elapsed time in the 4s. They were also very wrong. One of the neatest things about NHRA Championship drag racing is that because there are so many classes, speed and elapsed time barriers are constantly being broken. Mechanically similar to their Nitro brothers, alcohol funny cars often produce some of the closest on-track racing around. One man who has provided numerous thrills for fans is Bob Newberry, 1992 Winston champion and the first alcohol funny car driver into the 5s. In 1995 at the Slick 50 Nationals at the Super Quick Houston Raceway Park, Newberry set the speed record at 247 miles an hour. Coming into the finals, Bob was also looking to back up his elapsed time record as he faced off against Joe Penland. Newberry won the race and did, in fact, get the 1% backup needed to set the ET record. Like alcohol funny cars, there are parallels between alcohol dragsters and their Nitro big brothers. In pursuit of performance records, Steve Faria became the first dragster into the 5s in 1989. 1994 Winston alcohol dragster champ Tim Conway at a points race in 1995 lowered the dragster ET record to an astounding 5.66 seconds on alcohol. Also in 1995, Jay Payne, competing at the NHRA Gator Nationals, pushed the alcohol dragster speed record up to 245 miles per hour. You know, many people forget that in the golden oldie days, the late 30s through the 40s and into the early 50s, some of the fastest vehicles to go down the quarter mile and the salt flat were motorcycles because of their lightweight and quick acceleration. Today, motorcycles still provide great thrills and performance. John Myers, 1990 and 92 Winston Pro Stock Bike champion, has won more than 19 national events in his career. He's also set more than his share of records. At the 1994 Slick 50 Nationals, Myers bumped the motorcycle speed record up to 180 miles an hour even. Dave Schultz is to Pro Stock Bikes what Bob Glidden was to Pro Stock Cars, the top of the heap. A 5-time Winston champion with more than 34 career victories. During competition at the 94 Keystone Nationals, Schultz not only ran the sport's fastest, 181 miles per hour, which he was unable to back up, but also lowered the ET record. This is it. .532 seconds. That kind of record performance is what propelled Schultz to 9 94 victories and another Winston World Championship. Pro Stock driver Darrell Alderman's first career win came at the '89 Gator Nationals. Since then, he has amassed over 23 career victories, in the process establishing himself as one of the sport's performance leaders. During qualifying for the 94 Autolite Nationals in Sonoma, California at Sears Point Raceway, watch this. I'll tell you the speed after you see it. I can tell you it's a new record. Fastest any Pro Stock car had ever gone. 197.80 miles per hour. Alderman went on to win the race, defeating teammate Scott Jeffrey in the finals. Kurt Johnson, son of Pro Stock's professor Warren Johnson, started racing full-time in '93. In '94, Kurt became Pro Stock's first driver into the 6s when he ran a 6.988 during qualifying for the Mopar Parts Nationals. Kurt used that record-setting performance to win the race within a race, the DuPont Pro Stock Challenge. He followed that with a semi-final round appearance in the Mopar Parts Nationals the next day. Between bonuses and prize money, Kurt's Englishtown weekend became Pro Stock's most lucrative in NHRA history. The fastest and the quickest. It is the legacy of drag racing. When Eddie Hill broke through the 4-second barrier in 1988, it left the sport with only one major barrier to break, 300 miles per hour. The race for 300 miles per hour was one of the sport's most dramatic, and top fuel teams approached the assault on 300 like Eisenhower on D-Day. The chase for 300 ended during qualifying for the 92 Gator Nationals. Kenny Bernstein would make drag racing history.
I can't even believe it. I just can't believe this. Holy cow. Would you believe I told you I wasn't sure it was a very good run?
Well, Kenny believed it when he ran 300 twice more in 92. But much to the surprise of competitors, it was not until Doug Herbert, qualifying for the 93 Winter Nationals, would become the second driver to see the magic 3-0-0 flash on a scoreboard. As the 1994 season drew to a close, the NHRA speed record had been up to almost 310 miles per hour. Kenny Bernstein pushed the record to 311.85 in the semifinals of the Winston Select Finals. As he pulled to the line for only his second final round of the year against Corey McLennan, Kenny was looking to take the record higher. Higher he took it, as Kenny officially established a new NHRA speed record of 314.46 miles per hour in winning his only event of 94. At that same event, the 94 Winston Select Finals, Shelly Anderson added a page to her growing resume when she lowered the NHRA national record to 4.718 seconds en route to a final round appearance in the Budweiser Top Fuel Classic. She won it too.
Awesome is the only word to describe this young woman. Unheard of performance. She's $50,000 richer in the Bud Classic.
My dad's 50,000. I get the trophy, so that's fine with me.
It's a pretty one.
She got another 50 for setting the record from Slick 50. Shelley would go out in the second round of competition to the Winston Select Finals, finishing 10th in the Winston points. Her 4.71 was actually the sport's second quickest ET of 94. The honor for the quickest run belonged to Michael Brotherton, who had shocked the world when he ran a 4.69 in qualifying for the Mopar Parts Nationals.
Outstanding.
This guy did it all right here. He leads down, he goes, we turned the timers up a little bit because it looks like everybody's blowing through the clutch, and I'll be damned when it came in, away it went.
Mechanically similar to the dragsters, the Nitro Funny cars have always been just a little slower in breaking the barriers shattered by the kings of the sport. As the NHRA Tour pulled into Topeka, Kansas for the 93 Sears Craftsman Nationals, considered one of NHRA's super tracks, and one of the most likely places for funny cars to break the 4-second barrier, John Force and sponsor Castrol were so confident the funny car champ would be the first, John matched Castrol's $12,500 prize for the first driver in the fours, 25 total. John was in for a shock. It was Chuck Etchels, winner of the 93 Champion Auto Stores Nationals, working with crew chief and former Amato head wrench Tim Richards, who stole John's thunder. Not to mention his money during an incredible qualifying pass.
I can't pick this guy up.
Etchels was unable to back up the run for the national record, but he did win the event, defeating Forrest in the finals.
My only reason to live, he took it.
Well, that left one barrier for John to break, 300 miles an hour. But again, the Winston Funny Car champ was watching when the record fell. Also in qualifying, this time it was Jim Epler, who came to Topeka after a 3-race slump where he had failed to qualify at all.
I don't know what to say. This is great. I wish my wife and kids were here to see this today.
What does it feel like?
Well, I tell you, it just pulls so hard in the lights. You know, this thing runs a little different than everybody else's car, uses a little more fuel, and I think Mike knows what he's doing.
Indeed. Congratulations.
Thank you, Steve.
Mike Klober, his crew chief. Epler did back up the run for the national record before going out in the semifinals to Forrest. He went on to win the season-ending Winston Select Finals and finished 7th in the points. One race later at the Chief Auto Parts Nationals, Forrest was able to reclaim a small measure of pride when he became the first funny car driver to set the ET record below 5 seconds. 4.996 in Dallas.
We did it!
New national record.
Hey! All right! Oh.
In '94, Forrest, with the guidance of super wrenches Austin Coyle and Bernie Federley, would set both ends of the national record, starting with a historic run at the '94 Sears Craftsman Nationals. There, he lowered his own ET record to a stunning 493. As the season came to a close at the Winston Select Finals, Forrest, in his 11th final round of the year, watched Bernstein run his record 3:14 run and then set out to duplicate funny car style. What a way to end the season.
You come here to Pomona, you got all the air in the world, you got the best racetrack. Bernstein laid it down, I saw what he could do, and my old heap she trucked. I want to, Steve, thanks, you know, Castro, Jolly Rancher, all the plugs, Wax Shop, Dorman, all the people, but mainly I want to say to my crew, I love them to death, and that's just a sign because the nightmare ain't over. Their nightmare's just...
He's going to talk all night, Dave. There is another kind of barrier that racers chase, personal accomplishments. The big moment, the winning of the Winston World Championship, usually after years of struggling. Warren Johnson, affectionately called the Professor, made his first final run appearance in 1976 at the Gator Nationals. 6 times in his career, he had felt the frustration of coming close to the Winston crown, finishing as runner-up 4 times to Pro Stock legend Bob Glidden, once to the late great Lee Shepard, and once to Darrell Alderman. But in 1992, all those years of frustration were washed away during a magical season. WHA's 92 season began with 2 semifinal losses and a stunning first-round loss. By the Gator Nationals, WHA had bounced back and in successive rounds beat Ricky Smith, Vince Corey, and Larry Morgan to beat Jerry Ekman in the finals. Ekman, having won the first 2 races of the season, held the points lead, but WHA vaulted into second in the points. By the U.S. Nationals, WHA had added victories at the Mid-South, Summer, and Autolite Nationals, and had taken the points lead. Looking for his second career Indy win, Johnson defeated Harry Scribner, Jim Yates, and Lewis Warden to advance to a final round matchup with Larry Morgan.
Warren Johnson has won Pro Stock at the U.S. Nationals, a great race with Larry Morgan.
Oh, Larry's tough. There's no doubt about it. In fact, anybody that qualifies for this field is tough. So we're just ecstatic to win this race.
And it pushes you closer to a championship.
We're not going to look at it yet. We're going to take this thing. We got 4 more races to run. We just made it a little bit harder for everybody else to win it.
Following Indy, WJ went on to win the Keystone Nationals, setting the stage for a three-peat when the NHRA Tour pulled into Topeka for the Sears Craftsman Nationals. The number 2 qualifier, WJ again marched through the field, defeating Joe Lapone, Bruce Allen, and Larry Morgan, setting up a final round race with Scott Jeffrey on. Warren's 3rd straight win of 92 helped clinch the Winston title, and at Pomona, he and his fans celebrated.
Been a great season.
No doubt about it. It's the best season I've had.
Warren Johnson would go on to win the Winston title a 2nd time in 1993, winning 9 of 18 events. His son Kurt finished 2nd. Eddie Hill began his racing career in 1955, winning top eliminator at Karnak, Texas at 106 miles an hour. After his drag boat career ended with a 217-mile-an-hour blowover, Hill returned to NHRA drag racing in 1985, finishing 19th in the Winston points. For the next 8 years, he would fight and claw his way up the standings. After a disappointing 91 season when Hill failed to make a single final round appearance, he rebounded slightly in 92, winning the Gator Nationals. The rest of his season was a roller coaster of ups and downs, most exemplified by his first-round matchup with Clayton Harris. Well, 1993 opened with promises of better things as 57-year-old Hill, wife Percy, and crew chief Fuzzy Carter took the nuclear banana to the finals of the season's 2nd race, the Motorcraft Ford Nationals, defeating Tommy Johnson Jr., Kenny Bernstein, and Scott Kalitta. In the finals, Hill squared off with Pat Austin. Eddie's victory moved him to 2nd in the point standings behind Joe Amato. As the Tour pulled into Atlanta for the Southern Nationals, Hill had added a Gator Nationals victory to his 93 resume and was poised to take the Winston points lead. The Thrill defeated Don Prudhomme, Michael Brotherton, and Kenny Bernstein to set up a final round matchup with Mike Dunn. The Texas Terror took him to task today. Eddie Hill, congratulations. 3rd race this year. Great.
Oh, it feels so good, and we're first in the points now and everything. Set a track record here, loyalty of the meet. The Pennzoil team did an outstanding job today. Fuzz and the guys, wonderful.
You say this car is identical to the old car, but it's more consistent. It doesn't smoke the tires like the old car.
Well, part of that may be as this hair gets a little grayer, we may get a little smarter on the chin-up on the clutch deal, but the car is great.
When the Hills and Fuzzy came into Dallas for the season's penultimate race, the Chief Nationals, Hill had won 3 more national events. He still held the points lead, but inconsistency, early round losses, and late season charges by Scott Kalitta and Kenny Bernstein threatened Hill's run for the Winston crown. Because of this, Hill's first round matchup with Bernstein held high drama. The loss meant Eddie and Ursi became spectators for the rest of the event. From the race tower, they watched Mike Dunn end Kenny's championship run with a semifinal victory, setting up a Dunn-Scott Kalitta final. A Dunn win would clinch the title for the Hills. As Mike Dunn crossed the finish line ahead of Scott Kalitta, Eddie and Ursi realized a dream that started back in 1955. Eddie Hill, at 57, became the oldest person to win a Winston title. For Scott and Kenny, who finished 2nd and 3rd in the points respectively, they would have to wait for another year. For Scott, that wait would last only a year. Although only 32 at the start of the 94 season, Scott had been around drag racing since the mid-'70s when he helped Father Connie rent Shirley Muldowney to her first Winston World title. Second-generation racer Scott's actual racing career began in the fabulous floppers, funny cars. His early races were highlighted by lots of smoke and fire, but little results. After several years of trial and error, Scott notched his first career funny car win at the '89 Super Nationals. In 1991, following the trend set by Kenny Bernstein and Don Prudhomme, Scott made the move to Top Fuel dragsters. As with the funny cars, he struggled at first, and in his first 2 years of Top Fuel racing, Kalitta not only did not have a final round appearance, but failed to finish in the top 10 of the Winston standings. But all that changed in 1993 with the addition of 1987 Winston champ Dick LaHaye's head wrench. At the Sears Craftsman Nationals, Scott notched his first Top Fuel victory and ran the sport's then fastest 308 miles an hour. He wouldn't even believe me when I told him how fast he had gone. For the 1994 season, Scott started his charge for a Winston title with a runner-up at the Slick 50 Nationals and a final round matchup at the next race, the Gator Nationals, where he met up with his father, Connie, setting up Top Fuel's first father-son final round. Connie's win was his first Gator Nationals victory in his illustrious career. For Scott, the back-to-back final round appearances was an omen of things to come. As Scott staged against Kenny Bernstein in the finals of the Autolite Nationals, he was looking for a record 4 straight event win, having already collected NHRA Oscars at the Springs, Western Auto, and Mile High Nationals. The streak had also vaulted him into the points league.
Great job. 4 in a row. No Top Fuel driver's ever done it.
I tell you, you know, I can't say enough about my guys, the team. Grandpa's the best car owner in the world. My family, I love it.
And here's a happy crew. 4 in a row.
By the time Scott staged against Blaine Johnson in the second round of the Chief Auto Parts Nationals, he was 1 win light away from realizing every racer's dream, a Winston Championship. Thanks to runner-ups at the Northwest and Champion Auto Stores Nationals and a win at the Keystone Nationals.
I'm speechless. Finally.
There are many who have had the privilege of wearing the Winston crown, but only a select few have ever combined a Winston championship with record-setting performance in the win column to accomplish something no one before them had ever done. Darrell Alderman won his first NHRA event in 1989, taking home an Oscar for the Gator Nationals. He would appear in 2 more final rounds in '89 at the Heartland and Fall Nationals, winning both times. In 1990, coming from 5th to 1st in the point standings in the course of the last 4 races, Alderman came into the season-ending Winston Finals 2 win lights away from his and Dodge's first Winston Championship. Alderman defeated Jerry Haas in the first round, setting up this dramatic second-round match with Jerry Ekman. Darrell.
Darrell Alderman, his fingers shaking, as I'm sure anybody's would, that just won their first Winston Championship. The helmet off, the body out of the Dodge. Congratulations. Bob Glidden is here, Larry Morgan, Tony Christian, a celebration of pro stock competitors.
Alderman began his defense of his first Winston crown with a dominating performance at the 91 Winter Nationals. After qualifying #1, Darrell defeated Harry Scribner, Mark Powick, and Tony Christian to make it to the finals against #2 qualifier, Warren Johnson. With Warren having problems, that win meant Alderman started the 91 points battle where he left off, #1. By the time of the U.S. Nationals, Alderman had notched another 7 NHRA Oscars in 12 events, with 3 runners-ups on top of that. His first career final round appearance had been the '87 U.S. Nationals. Now in 1991, he hoped to win the granddaddy of all national events, meaning he would have to beat Larry Morgan in the finals.
Darrell, congratulations, and it doesn't matter how many races you've won. If you haven't won any of the U.S. Nationals, it's just not enough.
It's not the same thing, because this is the granddaddy of drag racing, the U.S. Nationals, and like I said before, it's just a dream come true for Wayne County and me.
Fantastic job.
Thank you very much.
Qualifying for the 91 Chief Auto Parts Nationals held high drama for Darrell Alderman. He had 10 national event wins to his credit, including the prior race, the Heartland Nationals. And all he needed to do to clinch the Winston title, #2, was make the field for the Dallas race.
Well, that'll do it. Simply by qualifying here in Dallas, Darrell, you are again the Pro Stock Winston champion.
Well, that's great, Steve. You know, it's been an unbelievable year for us, and consistency's what's got us here. Wayne County Speed Shops just kept this car so consistent this year. I mean, any driver could win.
And a record 10 national event wins.
Yeah, I know. Someone could have told me at the beginning of the year we was going to win 10 national events, and I'd said, no, I don't believe that.
Alderman's record year was far from over, though. Heading into the last race of the season, the Winston Finals in Pomona, Darrell was poised to break 3 Bob Glidden single-season records. Most one-season wins, final round appearances, and points. All he needed was a victory in the finals over Jerry Ackman. Darrell's win gave him 11 victories and 14 final rounds, ending with 18,280 points, all new records. In 1994, after a 2-year hiatus, Alderman would again claim the Winston crown. In 1984, with the help of super wrench Tim Richards, Joe Amato became the first driver to run 270 miles per hour. 3 wins and 4 runners-up that year helped Amato to win his first Winston championship. 4 years later, Amato clinched title #2. As the 1990 season came to a close, Joe was poised to accomplish something only Shirley Muldowney and Don Garlitz had before, 3 Winston championships. To win that title, Amato would have to get by season-long rival 89 champ Gary Ormsby in the finals, and he did.
That puts me in a special class to be with Don Garlitz, Shirley Muldowney. Can't even say my name. No, Joe Amato, a 3-time world champion. You know, plus to win the championship for Team Valvoline, Keystone, all the guys at the warehouse, you know, they'll be off my case a little bit. If I lost, it would have made a tough winner. But boy, my team, they came through in the clinches.
Let's celebrate.
In 1991, Amato, the former alcohol racer, set out to accomplish the unprecedented, a 4th title. He began his defense of his Winston crown in earnest at the Gator Nationals, defeating Pat Austin, Frank Hawley, and Kenny Bernstein en route to a final round matchup with the Snake. The win helped put Amato in contention for his 4th Winston title. But only 4 races into the season, he was already having to chase Prudhomme and Bernstein. Coming into the Northwest Nationals, Amato had a 2-race streak going, having won at Denver and Sonoma. A win in Seattle would move him into 2nd place in the points. To get to the finals, Joe defeated Doug Herbert, Dick LaHaye, and Gordy Bonin. That set up a final round match with the Mongoose. Amato's win put him second to Kenny Bernstein in the Winston points and set up an incredible chase to the end of the season. When Joe and Kenny pulled into Pomona to end the season at the Winston Finals, Joe was only a win light away from Winston title number 4. Qualified number 2, he faced off with Jimmy Nix, a win, and Joe made history. A loss that he would have to watch the rest of eliminations before he knew.
We're not done yet, though, Steve. You know, I'm not old enough to retire, and I plan on, you know, trying to come back next year and defend our championship and maybe make it 3 in a row and a 5th world championship. I mean, that's what drag racing is all about, and that's what motivates Joe Amato. I mean, what we did now is history. We're looking forward.
And forward Joe looked to that incredible 5th title, 3rd in a row. As in 1991, he found himself swapping the lead with Kenny Bernstein through most of the season. As Amato staged for the finals of the Champion Auto Stores Nationals against Eddie Hill, he had only 2 wins and 1 runner-up to his credit. Once again, Amato and crew chief Tim Richards staged a late season charge. And once again, for the 3rd year in a row, Amato's dreams of another Winston crown came down to Pomona in the Winston Finals. In 1992, it was Tony Pedregon, Cruz's brother, who was in the inevitable position of becoming a trivia question. Who did Joe race when he clinched title number 5? With that win, Amato had permanently carved his name into drag racing's history books. The only 5-time Winston Top Fuel champion and the only person to win it 3 straight years. It's hard to remember now, after 4 Winston championships and record-setting performances, that there was a time when John Force held the distinction of 9 runners-up before his first win, the 1987 Montreal race. You know, many people credit Super Wrench, Austin Coyle with a large part of John's success. Crew chief for Frank Hawley's 2 Winston titles, the teaming of Coyle and Force has always seemed like, well, drag racing's ultimate odd couple. Well, odd couple or not, when John Force qualified for the 1990 Winston Finals, he had achieved a dream that started when he gave up truck driving to race funny cars, a Winston crown. In the first round, Force met up with Tim Gross. Despite the red light, there was plenty for John to celebrate in a season that saw him win 6 national events en route to Winston Crown number 1. In 1991, John began his title defense with a win at the Winter Nationals. By the time Force and Coyle went to Brainerd, Minnesota for the North Star Nationals, he had won 4 national events and was working a 3-race streak. Defeating Whit Bazemore, Paula Martin, and Del Worsham, Force met Mark Oswald in the finals. As in 1990, Force was able to officially clinch his 2nd Winston title when he qualified for the Winston Finals, joining an elite group of racers who had won back-to-back funny car crowns. Now, Force lost the title to Cruz Pedregon in 1992, but returned in 93 with a vengeance. The self-proclaimed comeback tour in 93 started, as it had in 91 at the Winter Nationals. Starting from the number 5 hole, Force mowed down Whit Bazemore, Jack White, and Dale Pulley on his way to the finals against Del Worsham. Force's win started him on the road to championship number 3. At the season's next race, Force went out in the 2nd round to Al Hoffman. After that, John would win 5 straight national events before losing again in the first round of the Spring Nationals. By the time Force made it to the finals of the Keystone Nationals, he had already clinched Winston title number 3 and was on his way to a single-season win record. All right, John Forrest down here with Al Hoffman shaking hands. Hoffman started to punch him and changed his mind. Great job, John.
It's great. It shows you the friendship in racing, win or lose, man. We're just happy for each other, but Coyle pulled a number out because he says him and his crew chief will run low ET just like they did at Indy. They almost nicked me there. We just got away with it again.
See you in Topeka in 2 weeks, guys.
Enjoy it. It's my turn next year.
As the 1993 season entered its final races, John Forrest had already won 10 national events, a Nitro class record, and was looking for number 11 when he advanced to the finals of the Chief Auto Parts Nationals, defeating Gary Densham, Del Worsham, and Jim Epler before meeting Chuck Etchells. That win put John Forrest into the record books and was the capper on a year unlike any Nitro driver ever had.
You know, Forrest is the best. He's the guy we're all chasing down, but he got to watch out in 94, but we're really going after.
Ooh.
Thanks for
He
some
got
of
me that
Thanks
time.
for some of that money back.
In 1994, Forrest called his Winston Crown defense. The nightmare continues, and continue it did for the funny car competitors as John staged for the semifinals of the Sears Craftsman Nationals against Chuck Etchells. He was once again a win light away from joining the elite. Don Prudhomme and Kenny Bernstein with 4 Winston funny car titles. John clinched his 4th championship year with a win at the Winston Select Finals, and in the process became the sport's winningest funny car driver and the most dominant competitor of the 90s. No discussion of chasing the lights would be complete without a tribute to the one man who has seen it all over 30-plus years of racing. The one man who has experienced all the emotions NHRA Championship drag racing has to offer, Chief Starter Buster Couch.
There'll be much of a staging game or anything, because I don't think Buster's going to put up with much.
My mind, I read like I was supposed to.
Yeah, I tricked you, Buster.
Oh, maybe he did, but he better be on his toes.
NHRA Championship drag racing has come a long ways in 40 years, and who can tell what the next 40 may hold. But no matter how fast the cars, how big the media coverage of the prize money, the basic concept and challenge will always be there, chasing the lights. I'm Steve Evans, so long for now.
Want the best seat in the house for the hottest motorsports action? Then choose from over 40 spectacular titles in the Diamond P Motorsports Action Catalog. No collection is complete without the hottest selling action video series available anywhere, and They Walked Away. In all 4 And They Walked Away videos, you'll thrill to the awesome power of top fuel dragsters and funny cars unleashed and out of control. The chills and spills of motorcycles, speeding stock cars, and high-flying monster truck mayhem. You'll jump out of your chair with the nerve-tingling adventure of unlimited hydroplane racing included in Atwa 4. And in each bone-jarring incident, the driver walked away. Drag racing fans will recapture all the exciting moments of the season in Diamond P's Drag Racing Yearly Review. Relive each year of the Blazing Straightliners from Drag 86 through Drag 95 as NHRA's top drivers compete for the coveted championship crown. Call the 24-hour hotline number on your screen and order from our special series of biographies on some of motorsport's most dominant legends, like drag racing's undisputed record setter, Kenny Bernstein, the king of speed.
You show me someone that enjoys losing, I'll show you someone that's never won. It's that simple.
Meet the force behind the Liquid Oval's most prolific team, Bernie Little, Mr. Unlimited, and his quest to become Unlimited Hydroplane Racing's winningest team with the Miss Budweiser. And the nightmare continues with the man whose every pass down the track is nothing short of an amusement park thrill ride. John Force, still the one, is wall-to-wall excitement as well as candid interviews.
I have all the fear in the world. I have all the respect for this hot rod because it can hurt you.
Still not full? Still craving more action? Then call the number on your screen and get the catalog. Inside, it's full of action videos including the Shake, Battle, and Roll series. The videos that will satisfy your need for gritty, roaring monster truck and mud racing drama, four-wheel and off-road jamboree excitement, and the exciting car-crushing monster truck thunder drag series. Want more? You'll find that not every awesome fire, flip, and tumble is unexpected. In Joey Chitwood's 50 Years of Thunder, you'll experience precision stunts and death-defying feats from the most legendary thrill show on wheels. If you're into speed and looking good, then you'll definitely want the best of hot rods too, featuring some of the slickest, tricked-out speedsters, towering 4x4s and slamming and jamming high-performance workhorses, and of course, those thundering hogs. If you're looking to round out your drag racing package, don't miss 40 years of the U.S. Nationals, an in-depth look at the evolution of the sport and its heroes at one of drag racing's crown jewel events. For practical tips and expert instruction on how to make your racing dreams a reality, pick up your copy of From Street to Strip with legendary racer and instructor Frank Holly. Learn the tricks and know-how it takes to become a competitive drag racer. Call the 24-hour hotline number on your screen to order any of these videos and the exciting Diamond P video catalog. Inside, you'll find special action and collector video packages that will fill your tape racks and save you money. Diamond P Sports has been your ticket to the best seat in motorsports for over 20 years. And the whole Diamond P Action Library is at your fingertips by calling now.